Good evening and welcome to the world premiere of United Lens, where my name is Mark Langridge. That's Langridge, not Goldbridge, because mine's actually my real name. And we will be going through what seems like a week of more media bias towards United in not such a good way, as well as previewing the game against Wolves on Monday night, where, let's be fair, they've got 2 points and I don't know about the rest of the audience, but you're probably fearing the same as me that we're going to end up giving them their first 3 points. So, first off, let's talk about the channel. For those who have come across me before on, say, Tactical Devils or Balls Out podcast, I'm going alone. What more can I say? You will still find me every Monday night on Tactical Devils, as long as they will have me anyway. But this time, I'd like to go back into getting a few more words out there about certain situations like the youth development. JJ Gabriel is obviously the main name being used at the moment. Obi, why we won't be seeing these players for the first team and why that's a good thing. But first off, let's get started on actually talking about Wolves. Let's be fair. I said 2 points from their first 13 games. Definitely relegation fodder, and we really cannot let this slip. Weekend games seem to have gone in our favour. I believe 3 points puts us up currently into sixth as it stands on goal difference. So this is a game we have to win, and probably most of you would expect to win. But right now, that expectation is a real problem. Every time we get expectation with our players, that, well, they seem to bottle it, for use of a better word. We're used to talking about Arsenal bottling it. We're used to talking about the old days where Liverpool could beat the top teams and they would always lose to the lower teams. And let's be fair, that's Manchester United right now. We don't feel strong at home. We 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 feel like the players are running from the fan base, maybe. As the away fans, we have the best away fans in the league, and they don't stop singing. But the last game, boos ringing out at home. I wouldn't expect that to be at Wolves, but yeah, scary. I don't know what other people are thinking, so please come back at me in the chat and leave your comments afterwards. Expected lineup. A lot of people are expecting Martinez now to start. I personally don't think he'll be coming into the lineup before January, unless there's injuries. The last game with Aidan Heaven stepping in shows you that Martinez is not likely to step straight into the back line. Maybe he put him in there for height. Lenny Euro needs an arm around his shoulder at the moment, and let's be fair, he's a close friend of Mainu's, who trained with him in the summer. So there might be a little bit of you're not treating my friend very well, so I'm not listening to what the manager's saying. I hope that's not the case, but as an under 18s coach and dealing with young players, that happens more often than not. I've got friends at other clubs. I've got friends who have kids at other clubs. For those of you who don't know, yes, I am from outside of Manchester. I live on the south coast, just outside of Brighton. But, that doesn't mean that I am not a United fan. I spent most of my career playing football, so that means you can't go and watch football, funny enough. There's a lot of channels out there with a bias towards match-going fans have a better say. Match-going fans really know what's going on at the club. Well, from my point of view, and I think a lot of people who will watch this channel, funny enough, if you play football every weekend, you can't go to a game. So therefore, why am I being treated any different? But yet I actually am running around on the pitch. I'm actually learning from different formations and can see different things on a pitch. That's what I teach my kids when I coach them. Look at games. You'll notice what I tell you to do, they might be doing, they might not be doing. You might see that as a wrong thing. But we keep learning as players. So Wolves, I don't think there should be many changes. Now, most of you will probably think, "Whoa, we were shit," and we were. But let's be fair. Were the players the problem, or was it the way the players played? The formation was fine in my eyes. You had Talkshite saying that we should have put more attacking players on. But if you noticed, Luke Shaw and Mazraoui were playing in midfield. We were playing 2-on-2 at the back. We had enough attacking players, but without a striker, which we haven't had since Cavani, Ronaldo, and Zlatan, all those proper goal scoring machines, we haven't had them. So it doesn't matter how many times you throw the ball in the box. All the time you have a striker who doesn't want to run into the box as his first fault, you don't score goals. So I think if it was me, I'd drop Ahmad. I'd put Mazraoui to right wing back, bring back in Euro, De Ligt if he's fit. He wasn't mentioned that he wouldn't make it this weekend, but of course that post-match interview and press conference are all done directly after the game, so we're not really going to know till tomorrow night. Luke Shaw, in my eyes, should be playing left wing back. I think when he was at his best with England, when we went all the way to the final and he scored, he was playing left wing back. So it's not like he doesn't know the formation, no matter what the manager says. He might not know it the way the manager wants to play it with the underlapping wing backs, but he would do a job there. And maybe we keep Heaven in the team. I didn't really think he'd done anything wrong. Loved the fact he actually flattened someone. I say all the time, it's about playing for this, the badge on your shirt, and putting in a tackle and showing you want to be there, not pulling out of tackles like certain other players in our squad will because they don't want to get injured. But yeah, like I say, put your formation in. I think Casemiro, for those who aren't aware, he's been probably our best player this season. I think we've only conceded like 4 or 5 goals with him on the pitch. Most of the goals come after he's been subbed off in the second half. Yes, maybe he's not fit enough to do 90 minutes. And yes, maybe his replacement doesn't do the job Casemiro does. So Casemiro, destroyer, plays in that holding role. We tend to swap him for Ugarte, who tends to push forward, leaving the defence exposed, and hence the reason we get run over in the second half. Bruno probably should be playing in the 10 currently, but without Cunha, I could see why he didn't do it. Cunha looked off the pace. That's not the Cunha who started the season with us. Now, whether that's not having Sesko and being able to link the players in, I can't tell what Xerxes going to do. Whenever he gets the ball, Xerxes, I've played with players like this where, funny enough, I've got one in my under-18s. He looks for the no-look pass. He looks for the fancy little flick when, to be honest, just open your hips and lay it off so the player knows it's coming. Maybe it's a bit more predictable to the player marking you, but if you do it the right way, he can only foul you by going through the back, which is why we're breaking down and not getting forward. It feels at times our wing backs might as well not even be on the pitch because they're either too high, playing as a front, like right on the front line, or we're playing straight through the middle, long ball over the top, and we're bypassing the wing backs, which they're there for a reason. They're there to pull the play left to right, and get those passing patterns going, which started the season. Arsenal pre-season games, there was nice patterns. Now it's just direct, and try and get a runner off the flick on, which makes us one-dimensional and very predictable. So, yeah, I think that there's a lot coming out today about the game. There's a lot coming out about the players' mentality. I genuinely think mentality, the manager's actually right. I would say the manager is probably at the sweet spot of where player power came in from when his career stopped to when now that he's managing. We all know he's not the oldest manager and he's going to make mistakes. But the one mistake that we keep hearing that our players are making, they don't want it. You've only got to listen to Roy Keane, that a real captain of this club. who, as fans, we would run through a brick wall for. So heaven knows what the players would do. But when you hear the ex-players talk about Roy Keane, about his leadership, and about how just keep it simple, 5 minutes, drop in, pulling players around. Yet we've got Bruno cutting off passing lanes. We've got him playing Hollywood balls, taking the ball off the centre back, which he's not meant to be doing. And most of us are probably up to here about with it, but we understand he's a world-class player. And let's be fair, he can change the game for us. So again, come back in. I just want Bruno. Yes, he should be playing. No, he shouldn't. Guys, would it be the worst thing if we dropped him? We're all calling for Kobbie Mainoo to come in the game. We all know that Kobbie Mainoo has been singled out by the manager, who shouldn't have said what he said. But at the same time, I don't think he's wrong. If the manager doesn't feel he's right for the team, that's okay. As players, we do. But he's not a holding midfielder. And he's not going to drop Bruno from that 8 role. So unless Bruno gets an injury, if Bruno's injured and Mainoo doesn't start, I think we've all got a case to kick off and have our say. Wait, you said Bruno's and Mainoo are fighting for the same spot. If Bruno goes off injured, Bruno comes off, Mainoo's got to take that spot. 100%. You know, I was on TikTok earlier, and one of the comments was about Bruno, and it's the fact that he's looking tired, he's looking leggy. He pulled his he implied he pulled his hamstring in the last game where he went for a volley and missed the ball about 10 minutes from the end, and he then ran around holding the hamstring for the rest of that match. Then take him out, give him a rest. If we can't afford to lose him, we're playing the worst team in the league. Give him a rest. He can sit him on the bench. If he has to come on, he has to come on. But we have Mount, we have Mainoo who can play that role. I think Xerxes could play that role. And we put Cunha up front, bring Ahmad in. You know, there's changes we could make. But we have to win tomorrow. Like I say, it puts us up to 6th. But at the same time, if we lose tomorrow, then maybe it's time up for Amorim. You know, don't click me up in my first one for I'm hammering out. I don't. I think a lot of the players need to go. I think they're lazy. I don't think they're fit enough. And that's just general my opinion. Everyone can have their own opinion. But for me, when you step on the pitch and you're wearing this badge, I expect you to only come off that pitch dying from exhaustion, dying from a tackle that you've put your body on the line for. You know, that's what this club's all about. We can go back to the beginning years with, you know, the Busby Babes, the Munich air disaster, Ferguson. Every single player that has played in those eras quite literally died for the badge. They lived and died. And right now, there's been a news story come out today that players don't want to do interviews with ex-players. Now, if you're not aware, a lot of our ex-players work for American media companies. So although us in the UK are used to seeing Sky Sports and we see Roy Keane, Gary Neville all the time, you've got Peter Schmeichel, who I think's NBC. I'm not gonna guess the channels because I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But we've got Owen Hargreaves, Michael Owen. Rio does stuff for himself. There's a lot, and every week we're hearing, "Oh, back in my day, back in my day." I generally don't have a problem with that, because if I'm being criticised, then there must be a reason for it. And it's okay for someone to criticise me. I don't have to listen to them. I don't have to agree with them. But right now, like I will tell you guys, you have a right to respond. They have a right to respond. If they don't think you're doing what every player they played with would have done for the club, we're only saying the same thing as fans. And they are a fan. They may have been an ex-player, but they're a fan. And yeah, they're going to be clickbait. They're going to be fed certain questions by their producers who aren't Man United fans, who are there to get a story. But you have to see through that. You have to listen to their opinion. So there's a lot of media bias towards certain players. Like, you'll see every time Man United lose, Roy Keane's all over what is said in the UK. In other countries, you might see other people, but it's always, oh, they haven't got any desire, and they haven't got this. Back in my day, and the narrative is edited towards this is what he means, instead of actually just sitting back and listening. When we criticize, if we're saying only negative comments, then the player can't take anything from it. But sometimes it's, he does this, he does that. But if he just told his players to hold, just run to the corner flag, put his foot on it for 2 minutes, see out the game in the right way, smash someone in a tackle. It's not an aggressive nature. It's not. But sometimes you have to show other people that, hey, I'll take one for the team. I will take one for the team to stop that counter attack. Right now, the only player I ever see do that is Casemiro. And unfortunately, as soon as he jumps in and takes that stupid yellow card, it's always around the halfway line, probably no further than into our own half than the bottom half of the centre circle, where they have to still put the ball into the box from distance. For anyone else doesn't really drop someone to stop a counter attack on, say, we give away a ball in the box. Just clip his heels, take the yellow card. That's what the players are talking about. Do everything to guarantee the win. Do everything till the end of the 90th minute to guarantee the draw. If we go a goal down, get that ball, get it back on the centre spot, have a go at each other, and show fight, and go, right, we're getting the next one. We get the next one. We score, 0-0, go again. Every time you score, mindset, 0-0. And we will move forwards. For those that are coming across from my TikTok, you would have seen that I put a video out breaking down a small little change I think is very much needed and I think Amarin's mentioned it a few times. He's mentioned the term rotation, and it was miscued about meaning that he was talking about Bruno. Bruno needs to learn rotation. He's not talking about coming out and coming back in, because we all know Bruno's not getting dropped. What he's talking about is rotation with players, about what the passing patterns, but he doesn't need to be the conductor anymore. He's not a single pivot 10. He's here in a double pivot in the 8, and there's now 3 players he needs to give the ball to, as well as a striker, 1 player further on. So what I did on my TikTok, I sort of broke down where you keep seeing Bruno pop up. Man United like to play in the nice diamond formations on the wing. This is his passing pattern out, where you play a long ball forward to a 10. He drops it off either to the wing back or to Casemiro if you're on the right, Bruno if you're on the left. But when we play out from the left, Bruno either drops in and takes a 5-yard pass off of the centre-backs to his feet and tries to knock the ball, which takes out that passing pattern. He blocks the passing lane into the number 10 because he wants to receive it. This was shown very well by, I think it was the Everton game. Dorgu quickly had to readjust, was facing the wrong way when the ball was played out to him, where actually the ball should have been played up and he was facing the right way for the layoff. So it is definitely a pattern of play that they've worked on. It's quite common. Most people talk about triangles. 2 triangles make a diamond. So it's all about coachings and how they perceive the best pattern out from the back. And because of that, Bruno also comes over to Casemiro's side. Now, when we play a double pivot, there was many different ways to play it. In the Sporting days, his 8 was what they called a free roaming 8. But currently, we can't afford to do that because Casemiro doesn't have the legs to sweep either side. But yet he's still the best we've got as a holding midfielder. So what he's clearly asked them to do is to play parallel. And that's if one goes, one just sits but drops back in. So almost making the diamond points from the centre of midfield. Which obviously enables Bruno to get forward into that as a third 10. You know, you would have Mbeumo on the right, ideally Cunha, but Cunha wants to run with the ball. So by Bruno playing the pass and stepping into the 10 role, Cunha can make the run in behind to stretch the defence, and we can still get our wing backs involved. But when you come over to the right-hand side and double up, and you'll see this quite often, this is why Bruno was poorly making the tackle for Euro for the Everton goal. He should never have been there. And that's why Euro couldn't engage. We never knew who was actually marking that player. And they put themselves in no man's land. But by being there and trying to play out through the right, if we break down, the left side's totally exposed. And that's where our midfield gets run through diagonally. And we know we don't have the legs. So go over, have a watch on my TikTok. It breaks it all down with just simple diagrams and wording. And then look at the game tomorrow night. You will see this happen unless it's been addressed. And then you'll start realising, actually, if he plays 5-10 yards further forward, we can control the game. We can pop passes around, switch of play can be a layoff. And although he makes runs in behind, which he's very good at doing, every time he runs in and closes a player down, he leaves Casemiro exposed. And if you don't see Mbeumo or the other 10, i.e. Cunha or Ahmad in the past, dropping down, or Mason Mount is the only one that does it. So and that's why the manager likes to play him. I think he should be playing him up front instead of Xerxes, and we have a fluid front three or 3-10s, and then it becomes a 3-5-3. Well, 3-4-3, but Mount will play both roles. He'll drop into the midfield and play as that striker as a sort of a fluid false nine. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. There's a lot going on in the game tomorrow night. There's been some words said, and if the players want the ex-players off their back, all they've got to do is listen and learn. Why are they asking me to do that? Why do they criticise me from doing this? That's if you learn, have a conversation, sit down with them, be a big boy. You know, get their phone number, call them up, and say, "Hey, why are you saying that about me?" Then we can move forward as a club. If they're too, "Hey, I'm on 300,000 a week. I don't need to listen to what anyone else says. I'm going to do what I do." Then, in my eyes, get out my club. Yeah, we've moved on some players who sort of showed that. And unfortunately, we've sold some players who showed all the right attitude and they're actually doing well for their clubs that they're now at. I think Rasmus and McTominay, Napoli, can't really fault them. Anthony, hit and miss this season, but last season, done bits, moved away. Wasn't Premier League suitable, but he definitely worked hard when he was on the pitch. Sancho's last performance, maybe he's turned a corner. Now he's got rid of his girlfriend or whatever she was. Rashford still can't shoot for shit 9 times out of 10, but he's certainly working his arse off for Barcelona. So what are we left with? So these players do need to listen because we've been blaming other players and yet we're still getting the bad results. So I know it feels like a bit of a rant there, mid-match expectation. I feel that Wolves are there for the taking. For me, it's got to be a clean sheet, and I'm going 3-0. 3-0 tomorrow, and I hope to God Mbeumo gets back on the score sheet. He hasn't looked himself the last couple of games. I reckon 2 for Mbeumo, 1 for Cunha. And Mbeumo's got something to prove. He goes on the 15th. Whether he goes before the match or after the match, we are not aware. We will only find out on that day. And that's actually one other thing I'd like to bring in. Shea Lacey. For me, Shea Lacey needs game time. We're going to lose Ahmad, we're going to lose Mazraoui, and we're going to lose Mbeumo, all right-sided players. You know, all three of them can play the right wing back. Two of them can play the right 10. Guess where Shay Lacey plays? He's a right attacking winger, right side of a three or right of a midfield three. Good feet, very skillful. Looked great in the 18s, great for the under 21s. It is a big step up from 21s to first team. It really is. A lot of you might not realise it, but when you watch the games, if you watch one of our Premier League games and then you watch 21s or an 18 games directly afterwards, it will look like it's in slow motion. It really will. And some of these players are just not good enough. Don't get me wrong. They're academy players, but closer you get to the max age and you are not stepped foot on it for the first team, you're not making it. You're looking for a transfer to a League One, League Two championship at best. We can see that by all the players that left, who came through with Garnacho and Kobe Mainoo. Most of them are playing League Two. Obviously, I love the fact Amas is smashing it up for Sheffield Wednesday. But right now, Shay Lacey needs to get on that pitch because I can't see who we have on the bench currently to replace these players without changing formation. So unless he's going to move Bruno up into the 10, Mainoo comes in over Christmas into that role where he's coming in cold because he's not getting the game time. So that's not going to work. He could move Dorga or Dallo over to right wing back, but that's our left wing back and right back on the pitch. If either of them get a knock, who's coming on? Obviously, it doesn't seem like he has much faith in our youth players, and maybe he's only putting them on the bench for that record to keep the record going of always having the academy player on there. But right now, it can't get much worse. So that Shay Lacey, let's see what he's got. We stole him from Liverpool. You know, at the end of the day, he's a Scouser. We need to see what he can do. For some weird reason, I always love it when we have a Scouser playing for United doing well. It's just a big FU to Liverpool. So it's always great for me. But yes, that's what I would like to see. And I think Wolves is the perfect game. I think Wolves could even be a perfect game to get Obi back on the bench. I don't think it's going to happen. But why not? Again, got nothing to lose. If Xerxes takes a knock, we had no one to bring on. We had no attacking threat on the bench at the weekend. And I don't think we can have that again this week. So maybe there'll be a few changes. Maybe Harry Maguire comes back. That'll make a big change at the back as well. But yeah. So that's my sort of preview. Going forward, I'll have the graphics up on the screen and we'll look at that. And I'll have formations and a tactical board so we can actually look at what is expected. But there's one more thing I would like to touch on. And this is really a cry out to everyone else. Like, we are Manchester United. We live and breathe the club. You know, every single one of us pretty much probably never had a choice to support this club. I certainly didn't. I think I was 3 years old when my stepdad came in. I had two choices: Sheffield Wednesday or Manchester United. From where you choose one team. I was born in '81. United were not a good team. I am no glory hunter. If I was a glory hunter, I'd be a Scouse bastard. But we chose to support this club, and what we support is this player power. If the club can't take it away from them, as fans, we have to. We have to sing for the manager. We have to sing for the club. But maybe we don't need to sing for these players as loud as what we have been doing. Now, you will always be pushed towards thinking a certain player is the superstar. We hear he's on these wages. what makes a superstar in this day and age? The last two superstars I know was Ronaldo and Messi. Yeah, in world football, they're not there anymore. If these players aren't making you stand up, get off your seat, your couch, your chair, whatever you're in when you're watching it, your bed, and go on, you're leaning forward, you're getting more into the game, then why are we singing for them? Why are we backing them until they start showing us the commitment? I'm not telling any one person that you can't have a favourite player. Jesus, I went through a few as a kid. Started with Mark Hughes, then it was Eric Cantona, then it was David Beckham, then it was Ronaldo, and then I just stopped because I got older and, at the end of the day, you realise that you don't need favourite players. Because all that's going to happen is that these players are looking at their Instagram. They're looking at their TikToks, their Facebooks, their X, their whatever the other one is under Meta, which I can never remember, Threads. It's all about follows, likes. So they're making more money off of you liking them. So that's what they're doing. Do you really need to see players training when they probably should be resting? Do you really need to see players, sorry lads, we go again next week? Because right now, what do those words mean? I've seen Luke Shaw over the last few years come out and go, yeah, it's not good enough. But he never shows me that he wants to go. He's just played 300 games out of a possible 650, roughly, that he could have played for the club in all the time he's been here. 50% of his games in 11 years. He's had horrendous injuries. And so we can let him off on that. Whereas Bruno's played all these games and he's now captain and he's coming out. And in a few interviews, I feel he's thrown players under the bus because you don't need to mention their name when things go wrong. You can say, yeah, this isn't good enough from me. I've seen Xerxes last week look embarrassed about it, scoring his goal because I believe it was a cross. Anyone who's seen me on the Tactical Devils site, you can probably have seen when we've done a breakdown analysis of that goal, that I say that he never once looks at the goal from the ball played over the top to when he turns round, and it's just a driven ball across, and he sliced it into the far corner. That's my belief. That's watching the player's movement, doesn't check his shoulder, knows nothing that's going on about him, and just hits it as hard as he can. Great, it went in. Any footballer's happy with the one that you shank in. It's a lot better sometimes than the one you pass into the corner. But he looked embarrassed when talking, and knew he hadn't been doing good enough. And Mason Mount's trying to G him up. Just didn't look comfortable in front of the camera. They just want to get off the pitch and get home. So it's my sort of plea to you guys that when you listen to myself, you might listen to like the Tactical Devils when I'm on there. You might have listened to the Balls Out podcast when that was going. You might listen to these bigger channels. They are biased. We are all biased because we all have favourites. But until we change that mindset back to singing for the club where every player used to play their heart out. So we didn't need to have a favourite. Every player on the pitch was a leader. So we didn't need to back the captain. Until we go back to that, maybe we're just to blame that Man United aren't moving back forward because we're still regressing. We're still looking at the old days. And the oldest thing we did was when we chose to support Manchester United. So that's it for me tonight, guys. Please get in the comments afterwards. Come back. Anything you think could be better on here, with the exceptions of obviously the graphics. Things are currently out of my control. It took me a while to get out of YouTube jail once I activated the channel. So please like, follow, subscribe. You can catch me here on United Lens, maybe 2-3 times a week. I'm also be coaching, so that will dictate when I can get on, depending on when the games are. But definitely get over to TikTok. Follow me on there for daily content. Like, follow, subscribe, and I will catch you all again on United Lens. Thank you.